Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Happiness by Habit, where we dish out joy like there is the ultimate superfood. I'm your host, Silvana Pimentel, self leader, proud mom, and your trusty guide on this journey towards living your best life. Today we have a delightful guest whose energy could light up a city block, the incomparable speaker, coach, creative speech writer, and comic ventriloquist. That's a tough one, but she's amazing. Alison Wonders.
Thank
For the next.
you.
Yes, hey Alison, so happy to have you here. We will explore her wild adventures of children's entertainment, her transformation into life coach, activist, and comedic performer, and how she's managed to sprinkle wonder wherever she goes. All right, let's start out bringing your character to life, Ladai, enchanting children across the Southwest and eventually on TV. Could you walk us through how your passion for storytelling was
Yeah,
ignited?
yeah. So I worked with children for probably 20 years and I loved every day of it. Like it was like living in Wonderland for me because I could just be endlessly creative and they would just do whatever I wanted them to do. And one day somebody gave me a puppet, a monkey puppet. I still have it. He's probably like 35 years old.
Oh,
And I put my little hand in there and really everything changed from there. I just loved it. I just used puppets and I told stories and I just make up just whatever I wanted and they loved everything that I did. It was such a creative time because when you're with children, you can just play and do whatever. It's not like I had to be perfect. I wasn't even close, but they loved everything. So that kind of began my journey with puppets.
I love that. Actually, I've seen your shows and they are you're really good. And I love the authenticity of your shows, and you really transform us into bring us back to the childhood, perhaps is where we can all be creative and innocent and have and be very playful also, right? That's really
Yeah, because
beautiful.
that's where creativity lies, right? And innocence and just openness and I think that's the core of who I am is a creative. It's just constantly finding the places for me to put that creativity into. So I definitely have done a lot of different things. That was the one of the beginnings of my journeys. And then I did a television show called Lottie Da's Room in a small town where I happened to know the person doing, the TV studio and got myself a television show. It was so
Oh
much
my
fun.
God.
Yeah,
Cool.
so much fun.
That's beautiful. And tell us a little bit more about the show.
So the show
What's the
was called
target
Lottie,
audience?
and it was funny because it was in my bed, Lottie Da's bedroom,
Uh-huh.
where she could imagine and create anything she wanted to be. All you needed was your imagination. But what was so fun about that is it really was kind of like I was being my inner child.
Yeah.
I got to stage my inner child because that's what I did as a kid. I would go in my room and I would pretend and I would, wear costumes and look in the mirror and pretend I was on this and that. So Lottie Da's Room was this super fun show where I invited kids from the town. This was in North Georgia to be on the show every
Wow.
week and play with me as we went on these adventures and we were in my room and then we'd pop off into other places. So it was super fun. It was a really
That sounds so fun. I bet the kids love to be in the show.
They loved it. I was like famous. I had my 15 minutes of Andy Warhol fame, and I would literally,
Nice.
it was a small town, and I would walk in Walmart, and like older people would be like, "Oh my God, I saw your show, Lottie Da's Room." And I would be like, "Do you have children or grandchildren?" They're like, "No, I just watched it myself."
Wow, isn't that something? Because basically you were targeting the kids, but we are supposed to have our inner child, and that needs to be activated. And then you did that through your program. Then
I did. I
oh,
did.
how nice! I love that. So how? Let's talk about the transition from 2 decades in children's entertainment, and then how you move into helping others find clarity and purpose through life coaching.
Yeah, so then I had two kids and I worked with kids and I really was like, I am done. with kids. Really, I came to I thought I would do it forever. I thought I really, if you asked me then, I saw myself as an old person and I would just be working with kids, but something shifted after having my own and being such a dedicated mom. I was like, I am done with kids.
Mm.
Life coaching had just come on I think it was 2008, and I heard about it and I was like, that's me. That's what I want to do. So I took the shift, which was a huge shift because I had a whole career. And then I moved. Now I'm on my third shift currently. But back then, I shifted into rediscovering who I was, not working with children anymore. And it began with life coaching.
It's beautiful. So you reinvented yourself many times. The power of adaptability and just going with the flow with what taught to you in that time, right?
Absolutely.
Let's change hats for a moment. Let's talk about TEDx. You have a TEDx. Not only you do have a beautiful TEDx, but also you are a coach. You're a TEDx coach, TEDx curator. You even organize some events and stuff, right? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I am mostly a speaker coach. I've only co-organized one event, and that was a teen event, but I have not organized any of the ones that I work with. I've worked with over 200 TEDx speakers, and I'm part of several TEDx teams. It's just a stage that's unlike any other. There's just no other place for people to get up, talk for 18 minutes or less in the way that they do on a TEDx stage. Anybody who does a TEDx is really passionate. So I have gotten to work with incredibly passionate people who just are making a difference in the world, in their lives, for themselves. So I love it. I just love this kind of there's not a structure to a TEDx, but there is, right? There's kind of telling your stories. There's putting that big idea, getting really clear. So I really love the whole TEDx. So as a result of that, I do a lot of speaker coaching for any kind of talk, but it really all comes from that TEDx world and just defining that big idea.
And I have seen you in action, Alison. You are amazing. Really, really highly recommend Alison for that. You have a gift for that. You're so good to bring clarity to that talk and to help structure.
Yes,
So
yes,
very
because
nice.
we're talking to you about your big idea.
Yeah, my
Getting
big
that out
idea.
into the world, and really, so that was really fun. I love this happiness by habit. I think that is just brilliant. I just love it. I think it's such a great way to look at how to become happy, because it's true. It used to be so elusive, right? I just want to be happy. But right, when we have habits to attach, it's the truth. I agree. I love it.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Let's talk about happiness by habit then. What are some habits that make you happy? I mean,
So I was thinking about that because I saw the questions, and my newest habit that I really love is that when I get up in the morning, I have my hot lemon water, and then I put my herbs in it, and I really sit down and I take my vitamins, and then I sit down and I think about what I'm going to eat every day. Like I really think about, okay, what do I need to prepare? What foods do I need to put into my body today? And I recently started making like almost a basket and putting, the banana and the avocado, all the things I know like today I need to like eat. But I'm really enjoying taking that time in the morning to like really focus on what I'm going to be putting in my body. It's made a big difference for me, and I really do feel better than I ever have when it comes to food. And I think it really begins by just starting and having that morning focus.
I love that one. Never heard that one. That's a new one. And I really love it because you're being more intentional about what you eat and what you not only eat food wise, but also you're considering your vitamins, your supplements, so the things that are good for your body. So that's a really, really good one.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I really enjoy it a lot, actually. I really, like if I want to make beans, like, okay, well, I'll soak my beans. Like I think about all the things I have to do in order to get these foods, because if I don't think about it, I used to, right? You open the fridge, you eat, and then you're done. But when you kind of know what you're going to eat, and you make sure you eat the things that are in that refrigerator or the leftovers, or you kind of order everything. I mean, I know you have young kids. It's a little different. I am not. My kids are grown. I get to put a little more time and attention on it.
Of course.
Because I remember when I had little kids, all I was thinking about is what are they going to eat?
Yes, that's interesting, but it's so true, Alison. Absolutely. But yes, I love that. That is also very visual. You put the food in a basket or something where you can actually see, so it's hard to miss.
It is. I have it right on my kitchen table. I've just started this because I was like, I have flax seeds and chia. So now I'm just, so I'll just get a squat of yogurt, throw all that in so I can just make sure, yeah, it's working for me. I figured the basket thing out during the week. During the weekend, all things go.
So is that your secret to staying nice and beautiful and fit, Alison? What else do you do? Because you stay in good shape. That's pretty cool.
I do a lot. I live 10 minutes from a mountain here in Atlanta called Kennesaw Mountain. So I hike the mountain a lot. I'm, trying to weight train. That's the habit I'm really having to build. That's my hardest habit because I need it because at my age I don't have my 60 glasses. I am 60.
Oh, you look like no 1 year old.
I look fabulous.
50. You look amazing.
Thanks to a very good Zoom filter. 60 is the new 40.
Absolutely.
It's because we're doing stuff. I think 60s are pretty cool because by then your kids are grown and you really can do habits. Like people that I know now, they're like, if they are retired, they're exercising a huge part of their day. They're like into health, and we have to be because we want to live to 80s and 90s. So it's habits become critical at my age because
absolutely.
Yeah.
At any age, I think it's very important what you do with your body because your body is like a temple. You need to, feed it the right food, do the workouts. Your mind also very important. What do you do for your mind? Nourish your mind.
Yeah, well, let's go back. So another thing I do is I drink water when I'm thirsty. So I'm thirsty now.
There you go. Staying hydrated.
I think we should have like beeps when we're all on Zoom calls that like get us to drink.
Right.
So what
That's
do I
a
do?
very important one.
Well, I keep a good schedule. I'm not doing anything major currently, like meditating, but the walking is really, I think having a schedule is really what helps me the most. Like knowing what I'm going to do, having my plans, keeping it all straight. That's what I'm doing for my mind these days.
That's beautiful. That's very important. And then walking is like you kill many persons with the same stone because it's good for your body, good for your soul, good for your mind. It's a one-stop shop for many needs.
It is because we got voices in our head, which I have one of my puppets I didn't bring her here, but we're always trying to deal with all those voices. I think that's the thing to do for the mind. Like, what do you do to tame the voices, right? The negatives, the whatever. For me, it's being on schedule and busy. Being creative is a huge, huge piece for me. Being creative is like, all voices go when I step into the creativity.
Love that. Absolutely. Let's talk about activism and comedy. Some people believe activism and comedy do not mix well. What's your take on blending social advocacy and with humor? And have you faced any pushbacks from either side?
So I have a show called the Alison Wonders Show. I'm a comic ventriloquist, and I have a couple issues in there. I don't have a lot because I really don't want to poke too hard. I do one about Mother Nature and the earth, but it's actually very funny and a little twisted. But in the end, it's like, okay, we need to take care of business here. So I think creativity and activism totally go together. I don't like to be straight out with anybody because I don't want to piss anybody off, and we're in such a different world. For me these days, I'm doing, I'm really here to just to laugh and to laugh at things that we all share in common.
Yeah, that's a really good way to communicate because you can get to the other person by doing something fun, right? And funny also. Love that.
Yes.
Let's talk about if you could cast a real magic spell during your shows, with what absolutely ridiculous power would you give yourself?
If I had a power for my show, I would love to be able to read people's minds. That would be so fun because I do have a character. Her name is Mitzi, and she is a psychic medium. Well, actually, she's a medium psychic, so she's not so good. But it would be very fun if I could actually read minds and I could blow people's minds in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
I can't. So
You can.
I don't.
You can, but you could a little bit by looking by hearing that they are needs, and that's something when you ask the right questions, maybe you can not read, but just hear.
That is true. That is true. Or I can get the spirits.
Exactly. Let's talk about that voices in our head. I love your TEDx talk, and we are gonna put it here on the links because I love that it was so beautiful. Let's talk about the voices that we have and how to either like empower, keep the voices that empower us, and kind of tame the ones that are not good for us. What piece of advice would you have for people on that point?
So in my show, I have a character named Marge. Hi, I'm Marge. And Marge is the head of my itty bitty shitty committee. God, seriously. And I can't get rid of her no matter what I do. I meditate, I do affirmations, I am not enough. I am enough, not. So you see, she's never quiet. So the answer to the voices is just to keep doing things. I just find that you just have to keep doing it anyway, right? Even though they say, why are you doing this? I mean, I do a show, I do it in front of people, and still coming up to the show, I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Why am I doing this? But when I do my show, I'm fully present, thankfully. The voices just quiet themselves because now they get to act, they get to be in the show. So I think you just have to keep doing what you do and exercising and taking care. I said it's hard to be a human. We have to work very hard. So I think as long as we continue to do the things, then those voices don't have to be so loud.
I like that. That's so true. Yes. And by the way, I love your show. Congratulations. You just did one over the weekend, right? Recently?
I did. Yep. I did one on Saturday. I have one coming up in February, and I want to do a lot more this year. So it's an adult show. It's an adult comedy show. It's not for children, but it's clever comedy. It's not, raunchy comedy. Yeah, it's fun, just getting people to laugh, just playing with people. Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's beautiful.
And I'm also a speaker coach, so I help people write and deliver speeches. And I'm experiencing what it is to really get out there and speak and put yourself out there. And, it's a journey. It's a journey because whenever you speak, and if you really want to get good, you have to do it in front of people. And doing it in front of people is really scary. And I've done my show 25 times, and this was my best show ever because thanks to the Find Your Voice challenge and some of the things that you and I have done, it's getting really comfortable in your voice so that you can stand on a stage and feel really solid.
I love it. Let's talk about Find Your Voice and Speak on Your Feet. Let's talk about the programs that you have that help others find their voice and be able to speak on their feet, get their message out there.
Yeah. So my main work is helping people to write and deliver speeches. I have discovered that the Find Your Voice is a challenge that we are both doing. That is a 17-day challenge where every day you do a live in a safe Facebook group. It really helps you to get comfortable with yourself as a speaker. And I think that's the bottom layer. Layer 1 is get comfortable in your voice. Layer 2, there's Speak on Your Feet, which I have a Facebook group where you practice just doing prompts and you just what are you going to say? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? And then I think layer 3 is helping people to write and deliver speeches, whether it's a TEDx or anything, or a pitch or a wedding. And then I do help with delivery. So I work with corporations and go in and talk about, presentation skills and, the whole gamut. And I'm thinking one of my thoughts is I love doing this one woman show is helping other people create their own one person shows.
Love that one.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
I love that too.
One.
Yeah.
Yes. So that goes along with my next question. What can we expect from Alison Wonders in the next? What is next for you? What are the challenges or what are the goals that you set for yourself?
So my goal is to do my show 10 times this year. So that's first goal. And then I'm really trying to figure out what is it I want to really offer to people. And of course, I always want to offer helping people to write and deliver a speech. But I also want to help them write and deliver a speech, even if there isn't a platform or a stage. So I'm trying to kind of figure out how can I help people still do speeches, and maybe it'll be an online thing. So I'm thinking about that. And now I'm thinking about if somebody had a one-person show and they wanted to put it out, I know how to create it and I know how to get the people to come because that's what I do.
Yes, and you're so good at that, Alice. Among other things, that's awesome. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can join my Facebook group at Alison Wonders. It might be Alison Wonders Gars, Speak on Your Feet. You can email me at coachingwonders@gmail.com or visit my website, Coaching Wonders, or go to LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. So I'm
All
Alison
right.
Wonders there.
Very nice. So I will put those links here, and let's talk about an author or a book that has inspired you recently that you would like to share with us.
Well, my favorite book is by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic. It is, if you are creative, it is a must read. It's all about how creativity is always there. We just have to like pull it, show up for it. It's like waiting for us. It's a beautiful, incredible book. It's so inspiring. If you're creative, I highly recommend it.
Nice, noted. Let's if you could give a message or yes to the younger Alison Wonders, what could it be?
Well, I would have told her to be a teacher, but we're already past that. So,
Well, wait a second. You are kind of teaching.
I am. I think back then I was, anyway, it's too late. I'm not that kind of a teacher, but I did end up working with kids. I don't know what I'd say anymore because you know what? I'm embracing all my parts as I am here, and I wouldn't be who I was if I wasn't then. So,
Right. And you became the best version of yourself with all the experiences that you have.
today, yeah,
Yeah.
today, so far.
And it's coming even it's improving by the minute, Alison.
By the second. You too.
Thank you. So let's twist a little bit that question into what advice would you give to the people that have difficulty to finding their voice and to speak on their feet?
Yeah, I would say that joining a challenge, like a Find Your Voice challenge or Speak on Your Feet, is really where you want to start because you've got to let it out. And when you first let it out, it feels awkward and weird and uncomfortable. And, you know, you might not even like the sound of your voice, which I don't, and I perform. Letting the sound, the voice just like come out is just really empowering. So I would say you know, in a safe place with an audience, because, you know, if you're all by yourself, I mean, it's good, but there's something about an audience. So join a group and speak. Let your voice out, whatever group you're in. Just take a chance, let your voice out.
Yeah, I love that one, and it's so true. Well, Alison, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. I'm sure our listeners are buzzing with excitement and maybe feel that nudge to explore their own wonders factor. So, well, that's a wrap for this episode of Happiness by Habit. Remember, joy is contagious, so spread it far and wide. Until next time, this is Silvana Pimentel reminding you to keep laughing, keep learning, and above all, keep choosing happiness one habit at a time. Thank you so much, Alison.
Thank you.